In today's lesson, we're going to have a look at drawing and interpreting pie charts. In order to do this, we need to recognise how many degrees there are in a circle and think about how we can share these out to represent our data. I know that a full turn or a circle has 360 degrees in total. So if a circle has 360 degrees, how many degrees would each person get if the circle is shared between two people? Well, we'd take 360 and half it, and that gives us 180 degrees. What about 3 people? Well, we'd do 360 divided by 3, and that gives us 120. For 4 people, 360 divided by 4, that gives us 90, and so on. So 5 people would get 72, 6 people would get 60, 8 people would get 45, 9 people would get 40, and 10 people would get 36. 360 divided by 10, 36 degrees. Now obviously the number of people will determine how many degrees each person gets. The more people, the less degrees per person. We can say that the degrees per person is going to be 360 degrees shared between the number of people there are in total. So in this first example, 24 people were asked for their favourite football team and the results are shown in the table. The first thing we want to do is to work out how many degrees we want per person in our pie chart. As there are 24 people in total, we would do 360 divided by 24, and that gives us an answer of 15 degrees per person. We can now use this to work out how many degrees we need to represent each football team in our pie chart. So if each person gets 15 degrees, and there are 3 people that support Liverpool, 3 lots of 15 would be 45 degrees we need to represent Liverpool in our pie chart. We can repeat this process to work out the number of degrees for each of the other teams. So for Birmingham, I need to do 7 times 15, which is 105 degrees. For Manchester United, 4 times 15 is 60. For Arsenal, 2 times 15 would be 30 degrees. And for Newcastle, 8 times 15 is 120 degrees. The first thing that you should do is check that all of these answers add to 360 degrees in total. If they don't, it means that something's gone wrong in one of your calculations, possibly the degrees per person at the start. Now that we've worked out the degrees per football team, we can draw our pie chart to represent our data. You need to start off by drawing a line from the centre of your circle to the outside. From here, we can use our protractor to measure our first angle of 45 degrees from this line. You then need to draw a line from the centre of your circle to where you've marked your 45 degrees to represent the Liverpool section on your pie chart. We can then repeat this for the next angle, which is Birmingham City, and 105 degrees, but this time we need to measure from the line that we've just drawn. So we're going to rotate the protractor, measure 105 degrees, and then draw a line from the centre to the mark that we've just made. We can do the same thing for Manchester United and the 60 degree section. So rotate our protractor, mark 60, and draw the line from the centre to this mark. We can repeat this one last time for Arsenal, which is 30 degrees, and that will give us all of the sectors of our pie chart. So rotate your protractor, measure from 0 to 30, and draw the line from the centre to the mark you've made. This is your completed pie chart. We didn't need to draw the section for Newcastle 120 degrees because that's just going to be the remaining part of our pie chart. I do, however, recommend you measure the remaining section at the end to check that it does match up with what it should be. The final thing you need to do is to label your pie chart. I'd recommend doing this as you measure out each section so you don't muddle up the labelling at the very end. I'd also recommend giving your pie chart a title so people can easily see what the data represents. In the second example, we're looking at how Freya spent her holiday money. She spent £106 in total, so we can do 360 divided by 106 to work out the degrees per pound. This gives us an answer of 3.396 and so on. It's really important that at this stage we don't round our answer. So for food and drink, we need to take this answer and times by 32. For entertainment, we need to times it by 36. For presents, we need to times by 21. And for day trips, we need to times by 17. That gives the following amount of degrees per section. Now, measuring to this degree of accuracy is obviously quite difficult, so therefore we're going to round our answers to the nearest whole number. That would give us the following. When you have to round like this, it's really important to check that the rounded answers still add up to 360 degrees. Sometimes you might need to modify one of the sections either up or down by a degree to make it work. Once you've done this, you can then draw your pie chart as we did before. This is what it would look like. At this point, I'd like you to complete the first of the MyMaths tasks that's been set for you, that's called drawing pie charts. Remember, the first login is the school login, that is Uppingham and Acute, and then you need to log into your portal to access your homeworks. If you've forgotten your details, they're attached to Show My Homework in the Resources to Help You section. Once you've completed this task, you can watch the rest of the video to find out how to complete the other tasks on interpreting pie charts. So, in this next example, it says that 36 pupils were asked which subjects they thought were the most important, and they've represented the data in a pie chart. In this particular example, the pie chart has been split up into 12 sections to help us answer these questions. Firstly, it asks what fraction of them chose languages. I can see that languages is the ready colour, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 12 sections. So I could say the fraction is 4 out of 12. Now this fraction does cancel down, and so if I say 1 out of 3, that's dividing the numerator and denominator by 4, that is also equivalent. In the second question, it asks how many of them chose maths. Maths is the grey colour, which represents 1, 2, 3 out of the 12 sections, or 1/4. In order to work out how many of the pupils chose maths, we need to therefore work out 1/4 of 36. That's because there were 36 pupils asked in total at the very start. Now, to work out a fraction of an amount, I divide by the denominator and times by the numerator. So for 1/4 of 36, I do 36 divided by 4 times by 1. That gives me an answer of 9 students. For my last question, it asks what fraction of them did not choose arts or sports. Arts is the yellow section and sports is the blue section. That makes 1, 2, 3 sections in total. Because it wants the fraction that did not select arts or sports, that means there's 9 sections left over. I can either say 9 out of the 12 sections, or dividing the top and bottom by 3 gives me an answer of 3/4. I can check my answers to make sure they're all correct. I'd now like you to go back onto MyMaths and complete the second task, which is called reading pie charts. As always, I'd like you to aim to get at least 70% on both of these tasks. If you do need to retry one of them and it's disappeared from your homework list, you can find the task again by looking in the Results tab on the left hand side when you're logged into your portal. Once you've completed both of these tasks to a sufficiently high score, you should then watch the rest of the video on interpreting harder pie charts. So the last part of this lesson is looking at interpreting harder pie charts with questions such as this. It starts off by saying that the pie chart shows the number of drinks that have been sold. 18 people purchased milk, so how many drinks were sold in total? Now I know that milk is represented by 24 degrees, so I can say that 24 degrees is equal to 18 people. In order to work out how many drinks were sold in total, I need to work out what 360 degrees represents in my pie chart. So to start off with, I could say to get 1 degree, I could divide this by 24. So 1 degree is equal to 18 divided by 24. And then to get from 1 degree to 360, I can times my answer by 360. So 360 degrees is equal to 18 divided by 24 times by 360. I can use my calculator to help me work this out. So 18 divided by 24 times by 360 gives me an answer of 270. That means that 270 people purchased drinks, and therefore 270 drinks were sold in total. Having worked out that 270 drinks were sold in total, I can use this to help me work out how many people bought each type of drink. In this next question, it asks me how many people purchased cola in total. I can see that cola is represented by 60 degrees, so I can say the fraction that I want to work out is 60 out of 360 degrees in total. I want that fraction of the 270 drinks in total. Now if you have a fraction button on your calculator, you can simply type this in to get your answer. If you don't have a fraction button, this is the same as doing 270 divided by your denominator 360 times by your numerator, which is 60. This is basically how you'd work out a fraction of an amount. The reason this works is because we're taking our total of 270 drinks, dividing by 360 to get 1 degree, and then times them by 60 to work out 60 degrees. That is the amount of degrees needed for the cola section. So using my calculator, I can do 270 divided by 360 times by 60, and that gives me an answer of 45. You can see I get the same answer if I use my fraction button. So fraction with 60 on the top, 360 on the bottom, and I want to times all of that by 270. That also gives me 45. This means that my answer is 45 people that purchased cola in total. In this last example, I'm asked how many people purchase hot chocolate, so I can do the same thing. I know that hot chocolate is represented by 36 degrees, so I need 36 out of 360 times by 270. That is the same as saying 270 divided by 360 times by 36. I can use my calculator to get this answer. So either 270 divided by 360 times by 36 gives me an answer of 27, or I can use my fraction button and put 36 on the top, 360 on the bottom, and times by 270. That also gives me 27. So that means 27 people purchase hot chocolate in total. Your final task is to complete the worksheet that's attached to Show My Homework on interpreting more complicated pie charts. There are 4 pie charts that need interpreting in total, so please download the full worksheet from Show My Homework in the Resources to Help You section. Once you've completed all of these questions, you can check your answers against the solutions that have been posted. If you have made any mistakes, please try and correct them, and when you're happy that you've understood everything, take a photo of your work and upload it to Show My Homework. If you are struggling to complete some of the work from today's lesson, then please do not hesitate to get in touch via comment on Show My Homework. I'll try to make myself as available as possible and get a reply to you as quickly as I can. If the issue requires a little bit more input from myself, I might ask to arrange a time to meet on Teams where I can give you some personalised help with that specific problem.